Upon finding out the location of Okarun's other missing kintama, Momo, Okarun, Aira, Jiji, and a classmate named Kinta Sakata find themselves under attack by a kaiju. With the house now rebuilt, Seiko extends her gratitude to Mr. Manta Shrimp for his assistance. He responds warmly, noting that Ludris also felt honored to help, though Seiko senses a communication gap. Momo thanks Okarun and Aira, and Okarun expresses his relief and attachment to the house, feeling it was like his home too. Momo warmly invites him to visit anytime. As they depart, Momo bids them a cheerful farewell, while Seiko reflects on the need to repay their kindness. Seiko mentions to Momo she won't be able to prepare her usual bento, suggesting she rests instead. Meanwhile, Jiji's mother makes him run after her and his father as they drive to the ISA house to fix the damage. But when Jiji's family arrive, they are shocked to find the house already repaired. Momo comes out and asks them to speak quietly because her grandmother is sleeping. Later, as Jiji walks Momo to school, he apologizes to her for the trouble he caused her and shares that he has transformed into the evil eye a few times since, but assures her it has behaved since Okarun's promise. After offering to help Jiji whenever he needs it, Momo is unexpectedly asked if she likes anyone. Surprised by the question, she blushes deeply. Jiji is then approached by a few schoolgirls who are excited to see him again after being away for a while. Feeling annoyed as Jiji begins flirting with them, Momo starts to walk away. But when one of the girls offers Jiji a drink, Momo quickly turns back in panic, knowing that drinking it could trigger the evil eye to appear. However, Momo's too late. The evil eye has already emerged. She's shocked to see that Jiji's clothes remain intact despite the transformation. Confused, the evil eye threatens the girls, but Momo quickly covers, jokingly dragging him away. The evil eye, refusing to revert to Jiji, inadvertently joined the soccer game, mistaking a soccer ball for his grunge ball, prompting Momo to chase after him as the team assumes Jiji's eagerness to play. In class, the evil eye has trouble behaving properly, scribbling on paper and causing disruptions. At lunch, Momo attempts to change the evil eye back into Jiji using hot food, but discovers that almost everything is sold out except for cold noodles. She then tries to teach the evil eye how to use chopsticks properly, but he tosses the chopsticks aside and chooses to eat with his hands instead. Afterwards, Momo meets up with Miko and Kei, who notice Jiji's weird behavior at school. Momo explains that Jiji's trying to change his image, but Kei speculates that it might be because he is possessed by the apartment complex ghost after getting the golden ball. Intrigued by the mention of a golden ball, Momo asks further, and Miko, checking her phone, informs her that it is a spirit known as the apartment complex ghost, which manifests as a floating golden ball. Elsewhere, Okarun is surprised when a classmate approaches him, wanting to know how he is seen as attractive by Momo and Aira since he gets along well with them. Okarun reassures him that he isn't seen in that way, but Momo abruptly enters his class to tell Okarun that she has found his other kintama, shocking the classmate and prompting Okarun to quickly shush her. Momo apologizes to the classmate for interrupting and asks if he's friends with Okarun. The classmate, unfazed, admits he didn't mind the interruption since it involved her and confirms their friendship, pleasing Momo. Trying to avoid drawing more attention, Okarun suggests they talk outside privately. Meanwhile, the classmate mistakenly thinks that using inappropriate language like kintama might be the key to attractiveness. The class representative then approaches Momo, requesting she refrain from disrupting other classes as it's a nuisance to studying students. Momo agrees to be more considerate and persuades Okarun to step outside with her for a private conversation. However, the class rep, misunderstanding the situation, advises Okarun that he doesn't have to comply with Momo, leading to a heated exchange between Momo and the class rep. Momo becomes further annoyed when the classmate from earlier makes a crude joke, acting on his incorrect assumption about attractiveness. Later, as Momo and Okarun head to the apartment complex where the other kintama is reportedly hidden, they discuss why the class rep confronted her. Okarun reveals that it was the first time someone approached him in class, which made him feel happy, and is surprised when Momo suggests it's because he's popular. Momo then laughs at Okarun's response and recommends he simply say that it fits him. As they focus on finding the kintama, the curious classmate decides to secretly follow them to better understand their interaction. However, his presence is revealed when he accidentally kicks a paint can. Trying to act nonchalant, the classmate suddenly finds himself levitating and hurled towards Momo, excitedly thinking their lips might meet. Okarun quickly moves Momo out of the way just as he spots his kintama floating from where the classmate was thrown. As they attempt to grab it together, Okarun is knocked back when he gets close and warns Momo to be cautious, sensing an invisible entity within the kintama that suggests it's more than just an object. The kintama then begins to flee, and Momo and Okarun begin begin to chase it, while their classmate at Momo's demand stays behind to watch their bags. The pursuit proves challenging as the invisible entity defensively maneuvers, attacking Okarun and evading capture. During the chase, Momo uses her powers to swing across the complex to corner the kintama, but it attacks her, knocking both Okarun and Momo to the ground. The entity then targets their classmate, causing him to nearly fall from the building. Fortunately, Momo and Okarun manage to save him. Undeterred, the classmate attempts to assist by charging at the entity, but he fails to make contact. However, the classmate manages to understand the nature of the entity's invisibility and informs Momo and Okarun that they can see the entity from 3 different sides. Acting on this new information, Momo uses her psychic powers to swing around the side of the building, capturing a rough image of the invisible entity. She grabs hold of it, allowing Okarun to charge at full speed and knock the entity out of the building. The classmate earns praise from Momo for figuring out the entity's weakness and goes on to explain the principles to invincibility based on his knowledge of sci-fi. Yet, when Momo and Okarun look down, they are shocked to see that the entity has the appearance of a kaiju. Momo then realizes that the kintama the kaiju had while invisible is missing, and she suggests they investigate it while it remains immobile. However, as they begin to make their way down to examine it, their shock intensifies when they see the kaiju peering through a hole in the wall, having grown gigantic. As the kaiju chases them, Okarun and Momo realizes that the kaiju is an alien after noticing the sky turning dark and become conflicted with trying to figure out a way to defeat it. During their escape from the apartment complex, they run into Aira and Jiji, who are also shocked by the sight of the giant kaiju. Suddenly, the classmate trips and looks up in horror as the kaiju is about to stomp on him, but he is saved by the quick actions of Momo, Aira, and Okarun. Momo instructs Jiji to take the classmate to safety, while she, Aira, and Okarun confront the kaiju. After telling them they'll regroup at her house later, Aira uses her acrobatic silky hair to throw a car at the kaiju's head to push it back and directs Momo to target its legs. Momo, carried by Okarun in his turbo granny form, follows Aira's strategy by tossing a car at one of the kaiju's legs using her psychic powers. Despite their efforts, the kaiju remains unharmed and retaliates by smashing its fist down on Aira in a nearby building. Momo and Okarun watch in shock, fearing the worst. Elsewhere, as Jiji carries the classmate away, the classmate grows increasingly anxious about the events unfolding around them. When Jiji warns him not to sweat on him concerning that the evil eye may emerge, the classmate, misunderstanding this as narcissism due to Jiji's good looks, deliberately tries to spray sweat on him. This causes Jiji to drop him, attempting to suppress the evil eye. However, the classmate's continued actions inadvertently release the evil eye. The classmate then becomes upset when the evil eye decides to leave, but he quickly gets its attention by mentioning that they are supposed to meet Momo at her house. This news excites the evil eye, leading him to run off in anticipation of fighting Okarun, while the classmate tries to follow him to avoid being left alone. Meanwhile, as the kaiju prepares to strike again, Okarun uses the last of his power to rush in and save Aira, but he reverts to his normal form mid-air afterward. Momo quickly uses her powers to catch both of them, narrowly dodging an attack from the kaiju. She then swiftly transports them to her house for safety. Upon arrival, Momo discovers that Aira was pretending to be unconscious to stay close to Okarun, which infuriates her and leads her to smack Aira. Their shock escalates when they see the evil eye, who has just arrived. Okarun informs the evil eye that they are not scheduled to fight today, preventing Momo's plan to ask for his help against the kaiju due to his promise to only fight Okarun. With the group in a tight spot, Okarun notices the wall of the house glowing from the nanoskin and tells Momo that he has come up with an idea to use it to defeat the kaiju. As the kaiju slowly approaches, Okarun shares his plan with Momo, Aira, the evil eye, and the male classmate Kinta Sakata to use the nanoskin of the Ayase house as a weapon against the kaiju. He attempts to demonstrate by reshaping the nanoskin into something substantial, but his unclear visualization causes the house to warp dangerously, nearly resulting in it collapsing on the group. Seeing the danger, Kinta steps in, confident that his sci-fi expertise will aid in the visualization process. Suddenly, the house begins to shine brightly while he successfully transforms the house into a mechanical Buddha statue, with everyone positioned in separate cockpits. Panels depicting this incredible transformation come to life. Even the Buddha statue grabs the torii gate from Momo's house, using it as a headpiece to complete its formidable appearance. Although the transformation is successful, Kinta is initially disappointed that the outcome isn't exactly as he envisioned. He learned from Momo that the Buddha's appearance was influenced by her own interpretation of quote-unquote something big. Despite this, Kinta becomes satisfied that he gets to ride a mecha and names it the Great Kinta Bodhisattva Zeta version, as he prepares to have it fight the kaiju. However, as excitement builds, Momo begs the question as to how they will actually get the mecha to move. move. As the kaiju approaches, Momo and the others frantically press buttons in a desperate attempt to activate the mecha. Despite their efforts, they fail to get it moving, and the mecha ends up looking silly in the process. In the midst of the chaos, Okarun and the Evil Eye manage to escape the mecha just as the kaiju delivers a powerful kick to it, with Momo, Aira, and Kinta still trapped inside. The kaiju then uses its tail to wrap around the mecha's left leg, thrashing it around violently before delivering a devastating punch with its right fist to further smash it down. As Okarun watches helplessly, the Evil Eye joins him in, observing the kaiju as it demolishes the mecha. Noticing the Evil Eye's eagerness to battle the kaiju, Okarun starts to consider giving him permission to fight. However, he is abruptly interrupted mid-sentence, shocked to see the mecha's arm move to block the kaiju's stomping attack on the ground. Realizing that the mecha responds to the power of visualization rather than mechanical controls, Kinta takes command. He visualizes the mecha kicking the kaiju away, effectively controlling its movements. As he shares his lifelong dream of piloting a mecha, Kinta guides it to transform into a new combat form, ready to strike back at the kaiju. With the mecha reconfigured to his preferences, Kinta gains the upper hand against the kaiju, launching into a series of dynamic attacks. He starts by grabbing the kaiju by its tail, spinning it rapidly like a hurricane before hurling it away. As he engages in combat, Kinta reminisces about his childhood spent assembling robot models and quote-unquote training for this day, which includes riding roller coasters to stave off robot sickness. In the heat of the battle, while reflecting on his preparations, Kinta executes a devastating aerial spin attack, delivering a powerful impact to the kaiju. Despite the kaiju appearing to be defeated, Kinta soon realizes it has vanished from sight, and he is unexpectedly struck. Understanding that the kaiju is using invincibility, Kinta quickly adjusts the mecha's glasses to serve as an infrared scope, allowing him to track its movements. However, the kaiju manages to disable the mecha by destroying its left leg and continues its relentless assault, targeting and breaking down the mecha's weakened structure while it's down. This intense barrage sends Kinta into a state of panic as he frantically tries to find a way to escape. Suddenly, Momo, feeling motion sick from the mecha's erratic movements, uses her powers to reach out and stop the kaiju's attack, as Okarun is shocked to learn that the robot can use the powers of the people inside it. Simultaneously, Aira intervenes. Her powers emerge from the mecha's head to cover and restrain the kaiju's body. With both girls concerned about Kinta continuing to pilot the mecha due to motion sickness, Momo takes over the controls. Since the mecha hasn't fully regenerated yet, she operates its arms using her powers, lifting the kaiju high into the air. She then spins it rapidly, disorienting the kaiju before forcefully slamming it headfirst into the ground. After delivering a devastating attack that causes the kaiju to shrink and lose consciousness on the ground, Momo and the others find themselves back in the real Kamakoshi City, where the mecha is accidentally exposed to the public. Following Kinta's instructions, Momo uses her visualization skills to transform the mecha back into her house and returns it to the ISA residence. Overcome with motion sickness from the ordeal, Momo and Aira rush out of the room while Kinta sheds tears of joy, thrilled by his experience piloting a mecha. Upon bringing the unconscious kaiju back to the ISA residence with Jiji, Okarun informs Kinta about his and Momo's ongoing mission to find one of his kintama, which is sought after by aliens and spirits. Kinta assumes the kintama has world-altering importance, but Okarun clarifies that this is not the case. Although Kinta offers his assistance in finding the kintama, Okarun suggests it might be best if he stays out of it. Turning his attention back to the kaiju, Okarun investigates its mouth and becomes shocked to find a part of a person inside. With Jiji and Kinta hesitant to explore further, Okarun takes the initiative and finds a zipper on the kaiju. Unzipping it, they are stunned to find a girl inside, revealing that the suit is actually a suit piloted by her. As the girl begins to regain consciousness, Okarun locks eyes with her. Meanwhile, still feeling exhausted from motion sickness, Momo steps outside just in time to see Okarun being kissed by the kaiju girl, shocking everyone present. After witnessing the alien girl suddenly kissing Okarun, Momo reacts by attacking her while Kinta becomes upset he missed the opportunity to be the one to open the zipper. Seeing the kaiju suit open, Momo concludes that the alien girl is the true culprit and angrily demands an explanation, but she's frustrated by the language barrier. Momo grows even more upset when Kinta attempts to mediate, suspecting his motives are driven by a desire for the alien girl's affection. Okarun tries to calm Momo, emphasizing the need to ask about the golden ball, but Momo accuses him of being nice only because the alien girl kissed him. Okarun tries to deny this, but this causes Momo to storm out even more angry after pointing out that the alien girl is pretty. Although disappointed in his failed attempt to reason with Momo, Okarun shifts his focus to communicating with the alien girl. He, along with Kinta, Jiji, and the alien girl, visits Mr. Mantis Shrimp, hoping that another alien can assist with translation. Using Mr. Mantis Shrimp's translator device, which strongly resembles a Groucho Marx disguise, Okarun introduces himself and learns that the alien girl's name is Vamola. When Okarun asks about her reasons for coming to Earth, the translator only partially works, but it's understood that Vamola is seeking a husband through combat, agreeing to marry whoever defeats her. Kinta quickly claims credit for quote-unquote defeating her while piloting the mecha, which Okarun supports. However, Vamola still views Okarun as her chosen partner and hugs him, causing Okarun to become flustered and requests a better translator. Mr. Mantis Shrimp apologizes for the limitation of his current device, but promises improvements for their next visit. Meanwhile, at an unknown building, 3 Serpos are confronted by an alien visitor. One of the Serpos warns the alien that they are not allowed to enter their territory. However, the alien visitor swiftly attacks 2 of the Serpos and grabs the face of the third, forcefully declaring that whatever they possess now also belongs to the alien. Later, at the dinner table, Aira is visibly upset about Vamola joining them after almost being eliminated by her. Jiji attempts to justify Vamola's presence, claiming it's because she is attractive, which only irritates Aira further. Meanwhile, Seiko, noticing Kinta distracted by a talking mannequin Nico doll eating, tells him to focus on his meal despite not knowing who he is. Aira, frustrated with Vamola for not responding, is informed by Kinta that Vamola doesn't understand human language and asks that she forgive her for his sake, much to Aira's disgust. Okarun updates everyone that Mr. Mantis Shrimp is working on a translator for Vamola and clarifies her intentions. She fought them to find a husband who could surpass her in battle. This revelation shocks Momo and Aira, who argue that they, not Okarun, were the ones who defeated her. Kinta also claims credit, asserting that his efforts pushed her to her limits, thus earning him the right to marry her. Having said this, Kinta receives complaint from Momo and Aira that he finds pleasurable because he's weird like that. Momo, noticing Okarun's focus on feeding Vamola, questioned if it's all he observed, feeling ignored. Momo soon develops a stomachache from overeating and blames Okarun. She questions him about whether Vamola possesses the kintama, but he explains that without understanding their language, they can't be certain. Momo expresses her distrust of Vamola, cautioning Okarun not to lower his guard. She suggests that Vamola might be conserving her energy, waiting for the right moment to strike. Feeling a bit jealous, Momo especially warns him to be careful after the surprise kiss. Though Okarun reassures her, his avoidance of eye contact raises Momo's suspicions even further. The two then hear Jiji calling out for Okarun to come outside to take a look at Vamola's kaiju suit, which he and Kinta find intriguing. After having Vamola unintentionally give him permission to wear her suit, Jiji accidentally looks like Robert Downey Jr. entering the Iron Man suit for the first time, but more importantly, triggers an alert that reaches the alien recently involved with the Serpos and several other lurking aliens, escalating the situation dramatically. To find out what happens next in DanDaDan, you're gonna want to click on this video right here.